Well, going into this winter, La Nina wasn't talked about much in day-to-day conversation, but now, after a series of severe weather events around the globe and a frigid and snowy January here in Alberta, people are talking and some are pointing fingers. CTV meteorologist Richard Ozero reports.
All too familiar scenes this past week in much of Alberta as the snow piled up and the temperatures tanked.
Woo! This weather is awful. It sucks.
Alberta, we get everything.
La Nina is to blame.
My understanding of it is it's just the opposite of La Nino.
The weather, something to do with the weather, is it?
It's a cyclical weather phenomenon we first warned you was back last October.
It's kind of chaotic everywhere this year, isn't it?
It's basically a period where sea surface temperatures at the equator are cooler than normal in the eastern Pacific and warmer in the west. La Nina taps into the global circulation, disrupting weather patterns worldwide. Last fall, I crunched a half-century worth of data, looking for a pattern of what happens weather-wise during La Nina years. What I discovered and shared with you back then was the likelihood of a nasty January, allowing easier access for the Arctic air with more snow and much colder temperatures than normal. But we're not experiencing the worst of it here. It's being blamed for fueling the strong storms and deadly flooding that's ravaging Australia, the Philippines, and Sri Lanka, causing a blanket of white over India, plus dumping heavy snow in New York. Ocean scientists paint this go-around of La Nina as one of the strongest on record. In the next 3 months, La Nina will likely mean more storms over Indonesia, above average precipitation here in Alberta, along with cooler than average temperatures.
That's no good. I hate the cold and the snow.
The positive news is that La Nina is currently near its peak, and while it may have some staying power, it should be less intense heading into spring.
Now, Richard's story is generating a lot of comments on CTV Edmonton's Facebook site. Here's what some of you are saying. Glenn Wojtak says, quote, "I'm sure the happiest people in the area have to be the farmers who've been complaining about lack of snow for years now." Then there's Sherry McCrae, who says, "Thanks a pile. You've given us our money's worth and then some in newly acquired snowmobiles." And Roberta Sharp would like to thank Richard, but says, "I have to shovel snow yet again. Maybe just for me, you could predict the next Lotto Max winning numbers. Come on, cut me a break." There's also Corey McDonald, who wants to know the difference between La Nina and El Nino. Obviously not the same thing. Can you elaborate?
Yeah, basically they both sort of are referring to large-scale temperature changes at the equator when it comes to sea surface temperatures. So El Nino is a better known one because it has a bigger effect on fish populations. It was really discovered by fishers off the coast of Peru hundreds of years ago. So that's why we know of El Nino more. It was more of an economic impact. But La Nina is sort of it's called the little sister or the nasty sister, however you want to call it. And what it does is give us cooler than average ocean temperatures, and its impact can basically cover half of the world with what it can do to weather. So we're learning the hard way a little bit more about La Nina this year.
All right. And we just saw what the current conditions are.
Yeah, minus 22 is where we're sitting at right now, and we've been that way all afternoon with wind chill feeling more like minus 31. Staying cold for another day before we start to see a warm-up, and it's going to be quite the warm-up.
That'll be nice.
Yeah.
All right. Talk to you in a few minutes.
Sounds good.
Thanks.